Here he has a picture of Close Encounters of the Celebrity Kind. That's Brian Gary with Jack Benny, and with a nice surprise, we have Brian Gary on the phone. Hi, Brian. How are you?
All right. How you doing?
Thank you for coming on. You live in the East Coast, New York. Now, what part of New York are you
I
at
live
now?
right in Manhattan on the Upper West Side.
Oh, good. Do you remember this picture? How old were you here?
I was 10 years old.
My gosh. And you knew, I bet you had fun with Jack Benny.
He was such a great guy, and we had a lot of fun that night. We were accepting an award on behalf of my grandfather, who was too ill to come to New York. It was at the Waldorf Astoria, and I remember right before going to the Waldorf in black tie for a 10-year-old, I was listening to the radio, and I was listening to Haley Mills do Johnny Jingo.
Wow. No kidding, too.
Yeah, I remember that.
Now, growing up, you had to meet Al Jolson, all your grandfather's buddy, Georgie Jetzel.
Well, no, not Al Jolson. He was dead before I was
Is that
born.
right? Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, your grandfather and him were good buddies and everything, too.
It was friendly competition.
Yeah. Now, what song did they share each other? That one took it, says you take it, and I think I think he made a mistake, everything. But what song was that? You remember, Stan, offhand?
God, I can't remember, but I know that Al Jolson, that If You Knew Susie, I think was originally meant for him, and he said, "No, this is not right. I'm going to give it to Eddie Cantor." So Eddie Cantor made that his trademark song. Isn't that right, Brian?
Yeah, that's pretty accurate.
All right, good,
He
Brian.
made that his trademark song.
Brian, we got another picture. Get to the next one. Now, this one is right here. This is with you, with your grandfather here. Happen on the Way to Stress Test by Brad. That's one of your books, right?
Yeah, it's called A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to My Stress Test.
Oh. Yeah.
And by the way, these books are available through Bear Manor Media. It's a very well-known company, BEARMANOR Media, MEDIA.com, BearManorMedia.com. They specialize in books like this. You could also get it through my website, BrianGary.com. What that stress book was, A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to My Stress Test, is a bit of irony, which is why the cover is particularly ironic. It's a picture of me at 2.5 years old putting money into the Heart Fund that my grandfather was sponsoring, because my grandfather referred to himself as a cardiactor because he had his first heart attack in 1952, the year I was born. So he started doing a lot of work for the Heart Fund. And the irony I talk about in the book is the fact that when I turned 60, which was 4 years ago, in fact, I'm coming up on the anniversary of what happened. When I turned 60, my wife, who used to be a nurse, noticed that I was having a little trouble breathing here and there. It wasn't a major thing, but it was a little bit bothersome, and she sent me to a cardiologist. And within 2 days, I was having open heart surgery. And there would have been no hope for me had my grandfather not done all the work that he did for the Heart Fund. And the irony of that cover of my book, A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to My Stress Test, is that I had a stress test, and they found out that I was due for a massive heart attack.
Oh, my
and had
gosh.
my grandfather not been so involved with the Heart Fund, who knows what would have happened if there hadn't been such incredible medical developments because of his work.
Oh.
God. Well, we're happy everything is...
And he did a lot of stuff, like with the March of Dimes. He actually initiated that, didn't he?
Yes, he did. A lot of people don't realize that, and in fact, I don't even think the March of Dimes realizes it, because they don't talk very much about Eddie Cantor.
No.
But my grandfather was asked by Roosevelt,
Right.
could he gather up some very wealthy people who would donate to, trying to help find a cure for infantile paralysis.
Right.
And my grandfather said, well, I could do that. He says, but I think a better idea would be to get everybody in America to donate just one dime. And there was a newsreel out at the time called the March of Time.
Right.
He says, we could call it the March of Dimes. And Roosevelt said, well, where would they send the dimes to? He says, well, you have a very nice address right here. And that's exactly what they did. They sent dimes to the White House, and my grandfather, literally helped conquer infantile paralysis with the vaccine because of Salk, getting enough funding to find a cure for polio.
My gosh! Well, your grandfather was very, very helped the whole world and the United States and everything.
He did. He was all for civil rights. He helped give jobs to at that time, all the black entertainers that he thought were so exciting. Sammy Davis Jr., right. Thelma Carpenter. Oh my God, there were so many wonderful, African American performers that he believed in, and he would give them a break because he learned early on how great these people were, and he didn't want them just playing maids or butlers on television. He gave them jobs doing what they do, which was singing and dancing and performing.
That's great. We have a picture of you we're looking at right now. You're wearing a nice sweater or sweatshirt over here. As soon as it comes up.
That's not the naked one of me?
No. No, this is a family show, Brian. We can
Okay. Yes, I still have that sweater. In fact, if you read my book, Close Encounters of the Celebrity Kind, I am always saying, do I still have that? Of course I do. And because I throw nothing away. I'm a pack rat, and I'm glad I am, because I would never be able to put out these things that everybody is enjoying or tell these stories if I didn't keep memorabilia. And that's a picture of me at my piano right here in my apartment.
Yeah, that's good. And then we got another picture of you here. We got this before we get to the main event of you. Over here. Now, when you were in L.A., here we have, now is this where you were, the Barnes & Noble? You get here, we're going to bring it down. It says, Janet Gary, Brian Gary, Eddie Cantor's family discussion, My Life in Your Hands, and Take My Life. Now, when was that done?
That was probably at Barnes & Noble,
yeah. That was Friday, March 2nd.
Where did you find the picture?
Well, I got this, you were with, here, then the other picture with you and, now who's here? We'll get it up on the screen. Let's see. Yeah.
You got to understand that when I'm looking at the screen, there's quite a bit of a delay.
Yeah, right now, pretty soon as we talk, we have you. And is this? Let me know when you see it now, like that.
I'll let you know. I'm still looking at me at the piano.
Okay.
And I'm getting awfully sick of my face.
No, no, you're all right too.
Okay, now wait. I think you're changing the picture now on my screen.
Yeah.
And that looks like Barnes & Noble in Westwood.
Okay, Westwood. When was that? It says March 2nd, but when was that?
Oh my
this
God,
year?
that was probably. Yeah, I see it. It's 2002, I think.
Oh, that's quite a while. Yeah. Okay, now we're going to keep on your eyes going. Now we have a picture with you, and we're trying to figure out where you were at, and let me know when you get it. You should be getting it pretty soon.
Where did you find that nice big poster? You took it?
Oh, yeah, I took it from, no. I have my ways. I got my spotters out there all over the place out there.
Oh, yeah, that's me with Marjorie Levine.
Yeah, that's who we thought it was. Okay.
Yeah, do you know her?
Well, we've met a long time ago. It's been a while.
Yeah, she has a blog, and she came to a book signing of mine that was at here in New York at the Drama Bookshop.
I see. Good. But you know what? Before we show your CD, your talent that you're doing now, growing up with your grandfather, how was it growing up in school? Growing up in at school, did people know you're Eddie Cantor's grandson and everything growing up?
Well, some people did, some people did not. I didn't trade on my grandfather's name at any time. The only time that it came up is when I started, I think when I had my show on Broadway, it had to be part of my, biography in the program. Okay. But, growing up and in my years of recording and everything, my early years, nobody ever really knew. There were a few people that knew, but I didn't want anyone to give me a job because of who I was related to. And to tell you the truth, it probably wouldn't have meant anything to them. At that time, my grandfather had been gone for, I would say at least 10 years. And he was out of the public eye for quite some time, anyway. So I never traded on his name. The only time I started really talking about, my grandfather and the connection and everything was when I started producing CDs of the unissued material and things that were never put out before. I started off with working for RCA, and when we reissued the 1957 Best of Eddie Cantor album, and then when I put out, I think around the same year, the True Carnegie Hall concert.
Yeah, I had that, and there was one you put out that I liked, that the broadcast that was never aired.
Oh, that was the second one. Yeah, I love that one too. That was a radio show that I discovered that never got on the air. It was Roosevelt took over the airwaves on that date. Yeah. I believe that was in 1940. I can't remember the exact date now, but it's called The Show That Never Aired.
Yeah.
And by the way, anybody can get these things at cdbaby.com.
Yeah.
cdbaby.com.
Yeah.
And just look up Eddie Cantor there, and you'll see a lot of these things that we're talking about. But that Show That Never Aired is such a rarity. What happened was my grandfather did a weekly show, and he was about to do his show, found out that he was not going to air because Roosevelt, was talking about the war. And so my grandfather said, well, I got a whole studio audience here. We might as well just do the show. And what he did was, it was all improvised. He let the band go home early, and he played with the audience. He sang songs. He brought out some of his guests. And when I discovered this and realized it was a show that never got on the air, but it had been recorded anyway, I thought, boy, you guys, would probably enjoy having, having this out there. And so I put out an album called The Show That Never Aired.
It was great. And Brian, before we show your CD and everything, we're showing it now. When actually was your first? How did you get started? What made you start getting in the business?
Well, ironically, it was October of 1964, and my grandfather died October 10th, 1964. But I wrote my first song that month. I don't know exactly what day, but I do know it was October 1964. I wrote my first song because I listened to the music of, obviously, the Beatles and a duo called Peter and Gordon. That's Peter Asher and Gordon Waller. And Peter Asher, his sister was Jane Asher, who was going with Paul McCartney. And, of course, Paul supplied songs to Peter and Gordon. And I took up the guitar, and I tried to write my first song, which my mother thought was pretty good. And, once your mom says something is good, you try and do it a second time and a third time. And before you know it, I'm up to almost 900 songs.
Wow.
So I got into the business, actually, after my parents gave me a demo of somebody singing my songs, two of my songs, and told me to go around to publishing companies and try and get it published, which I did. And by the time I got it published at age 15, age 17, it got recorded, and I was on my way at that point and started trying to get record deals after that.
All right, great. Now you've produced, or you got a CD that I bought, and I enjoy it. It's called Unproduced Eddie Cantor Musical. There's a picture of you on our right and grandfather on your left. Words and music by Brian Gari, and I enjoy it. We're going to play a song from it. But how long did it take to put this together?
About 30 years.
30 years.
I wrote it while I was writing my first Broadway show. I wrote a Broadway show called Late Night Comic, and it didn't last a long time on Broadway, but at least there's an album out of some very important people singing on it. People like Paul Schaefer from The Letterman Show, and Tony Roberts, the actor, and Mario Cantone, and some wonderful people are on that album. But I was also always wanted to do a musical about my grandfather. So over the past 30 years, I've been writing songs based on my grandfather's autobiographies. But that's not enough. You have to have a book writer. I don't have a book writer for the show, but I continued to write songs, and I ended up with about 13 songs. And I decided a few months back, I've got to let the world hear what I'm doing. And I took the demonstration records, the demos of these songs I wrote, put them all together, including a live version with a guy named Tom Luca, and I put the album out. People like K.T. Sullivan are on it. Don Ciccone, who is from the Critters and the Four Seasons, he's on the album. It's all these songs that I wrote based on my grandfather's autobiography. So it's called The Unproduced Eddie Cantor Musical, available at Amazon.com.
It's very good. And how can we get it? I got it. Here,
Yeah,
I got
you
it.
just go to Amazon.com, look up either Brian Gary, which is Gari, or look up Unproduced Eddie Cantor Musical, and there's a CD out there, and it's available. You know, it's very much available, and I'm hoping people enjoy it. You seem to have enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'm gonna play I'm gonna play one song. What song did you want me to play?
I think a really fun song is called "The Belle of Henry Street," and that's what my grandfather used to call my grandmother Ida, because the two of them used to date starting at age 14, and they both lived on Henry Street, and he called her the Belle of Henry Street.
Brian, we hear sirens. What's going on over there?
Hey, this is New York. This is the noise that you hear.
Okay. Well, we're going to go try to find, we're going to get your song going over here. Let me see if I yeah, hang on a minute. Let's see if I
Don't
get
scratch it.
No. Let me find the right thing. But I want to thank you very much. You came to L.A., and Stu Shostak gave me a call. You and Robert Clary wished me a very happy birthday, and I do appreciate it.
Absolutely.
It was very fun. You know, Robert, tell me how growing up with him, your uncle. That had to have been interesting.
You know, my uncle married into the family in 1965. I was 13 years old. And, you know, from that point on, I would see him occasionally when I got out to California. Sometimes he came to New York and I saw him. We weren't, you know, as close as we are today. Today we are, you know, really, really close, and I adore my uncle. Robert Clary is a great guy. He also has a website, robertclary.com, and of course I have my website, briangary.com, and there's an eddiecantor.com as well. But Robert is just a phenomenal guy. You know, he spent 3 years in a concentration camp.
Yeah, his book
survived
too.
that and went on to become so incredibly famous, and you know, obviously from Hogan's Heroes. And he just turned 90, so we had gone out to visit him out in California for his 90th birthday.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And he's in great shape, and he's just a very talented guy and a very kind individual.
And he's talented too, because I don't know if you remember when I was on the radio, we talked to you, and then Robert Clary had that CD at the bakery. You remember those?
Oh, that's his first album.
Yeah.
that was out of the new Robert Clary. You know, he put out many albums. They're all on his website right now. In fact, I think there's a big sale going on.
Yeah.
But Robert Clary CDs are great, and that album that you just mentioned was the very first album. It was a live album that he did with a trio, and it's great. You know, he does kind of jazzy versions of standards, and that's what he does.
Yeah, he's a good singer. Do you watch Hogan's Heroes still? And I still laugh just as hard as the first time around.
It's hard for me to keep up with everything that's on TV, you know, all the reruns and everything. A lot of times I buy them on DVD and just watch them myself, you know. That's what I do. But I am so addicted to so much of the stuff that's out there right now. I record things all the time, and I have to find the time to play stuff back. I was playing stuff back right before your phone call.
Is that right?
That's kind of like me. I DVR everything now.
Oh yeah, I mean it's a great invention, and you just push a button and you get the whole series, and you know. But there's so much to watch. I watch 48 Hours. I watch Dateline.
Right.
I watch reruns of old TV shows. You know, I'm a crazy guy.
You gotta find time to watch them. You can DVR them, and you know.
That's it.
Yeah,
but
and then that fills up, and then it gets dangerous because it could start getting deleted.
Yeah. But I told him, I says, is he really a good cook? He must be a good cook too.
Oh, he doesn't. You know, he's made me some things along the way. He makes a great a salad. You know, a chef salad kind of thing. Very tasty. And but mostly when we're out there with him, we go out to dinner.
Yeah.
And you know, there are a couple of places that he really likes to go to. There's a Thursday brunch that I go to with him, men only.
Is that right?
Funnily enough, and it's a great brunch. It's with all of his creative friends, and I'm talking about people like Bill Hayes. You know the name Bill Hayes?
Yes,
From, you know, Days of Our Lives, and he was a Broadway performer. and movies and everything. Gene Reynolds, the great director.
Oh,
producer.
director.
For
Yeah,
MASH,
MASH,
for MASH,
too,
yeah.
yeah.
Right. He's there. Howard Leeds,
Howard
who's
Leeds.
responsible for Facts of Life, Silver Spoon, Bewitched, Make Room for Daddy,
Oh, boy, yeah.
McHale's Navy, all those. Howard Leeds, he's 96.
Wow.
I'm trying to think of all the other people. Lee Miller, all these great names of people. Unfortunately, some of them, every time I come out there, there's one less person. You know.
Yeah, I know. Sadly,
It
we're.
was.
Yeah.
They used to call one guy the other Ray. I think it's the other Ray Charles or something like that. It was like a joke because there's obviously the blind Ray Charles, and then there's this Ray Charles who just passed away, and he was the guy that was the Ray Charles singer.
Yeah, Ray Charles singers too.
Right. So he used to have brunch with us. We used to go to. We still do go to Cafe Roma, and whenever I get out there, I join Robert for brunch or lunch.
Well, you tell him hello. Tell him I can hardly wait to try his strudel.
Oh yeah, I don't think that's part of his lifestyle anymore.
Well, I know.
If it ever was.
I know, but Hogan's Heroes it was. I'll tell you like that. But we're gonna play one of your songs. We're gonna show the picture of your CD again. But the one you wanted was the Bell. Which one again, Brian?
The Bell of Henry Street.
All right, we're gonna get that right now for you, and then we'll you explain where we can find all this again. So
Okay,
here we
I'll
go.
hold on.
Here we go.
Okay.
Apart, I lost my heart, and it likes where it fell. I had no idea what she could see in one like me, but still she would quell. And I'll sing from every land that she likes this little scamp. She's the belle of Henry Street, and I fell there on Henry Street. I can tell that there's no one like her for miles. All the folks laugh on Market Street at my jokes. Well, it can't compete with the way my belle of Henry Street smiles. Saw her in the gym at PS1, doing high jumps in her bloomers. Rumors have it she'll always outrun you, and just to make her laugh, I'll do it all. I'll take the fall for only a grin, hanging off her stoop to get a crowd. I'll make her proud, and that's when I win. And it's not an easy race when you're stuck with this here face. Oh, my belle of Henry Street, mademoiselle of Henry Street, sure is swell here on Henry Street when she's near. All I need is the bell of Henry Street here. Ooh, come on, all I need is the bell of Henry Street.
Well, there you have it, Brian. What do you think? You did pretty good.
Well, thank you. I enjoyed that, writing it and producing it and arranging it with my partner Jeff Olmsted. We really had a great time making that record.
All right.
Great.
So
Great. Yeah.
so people can find it. We'll show the picture again.
Yeah, they can find it at Amazon.com.
Like I did, huh?
Yeah. I mean, it's just, readily available, and I think people will enjoy it. There's quite a few songs on there. There's a song about his grandmother, Esther, who brought him up, and a song about his mother, who passed away when he was 2. There's a song where I try to imitate my grandfather as he sounded in vaudeville. And there's a lot of good photographs in there of the family.
Well, I see it right here. I got it right here. There's Grandma Esther.
Right.
Eddie and Ida. How nice. Ida looks, oh, yeah. What year was that one taken?
Oh, that's when they were just married, I think. Probably 1914.
Yeah, then you see Eddie at age 8. These are pretty good. And your grandfather, Eddie's father. Man.
Yeah, now that picture is very mysterious. I let it get reprinted when, when you put up that poster from Barnes & Noble. That's from a collection of his autobiographies that I had put together in one volume, the 2 books. And originally, the picture that is supposedly of his father was in the first printings, but it was removed by the second printing of the book. So I thought that was kind of mysterious, and I don't know why it was removed, but I'm hoping that it was just an accident, because I revived it and had it republished in the autobiographies in 2002. So I took that picture and put it inside my CD.
Well, that's good.
Great,
now, these are all family. You have these in your possession as we speak, right?
Yes, I actually have that original one of Eddie Cantor, age 8, where he's standing on the stoop.
That's pretty
and that's
good.
That was taken probably by a street photographer in 1900.
Wow.
I like his hat.
So he's
Look
6
at that
years
hat.
old. Yeah, 5, 6 years old.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Now, who is this Surprise Lake Camp guys?
Oh, Surprise Lake Camp. That's a rare picture, too.
Yeah.
That is Eddie himself down there in the corner of the picture, I think, or in the middle. Surprise Lake Camp, and that's a song on the album, too. But it's a real camp where Eddie went when he was, probably around 1902 or something like that.
Yeah, we're going to try to...
1902, 1903.
York, right?
It was done through the Henry Street Settlement, and what they did was they tried to round up kids off the street and send them to a camp for 2 weeks where they could actually breathe fresh air and swim in the lake. And it was a retreat of sort for young kids that had no way out of the slums of the Lower East Side.
All right, now I'm showing all the family pictures here. There's your grandfather there, and the father, and your grandmother, everybody. Yeah, we're showing everything.
Oh, great. Yeah. So that's underneath the CD, isn't it?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I work with this great girl named Aggie Kelly, and she did all the designing of the album. And I said, can this be done? And she found a way to do it. It was a rather expensive project to do, which is why I'm hoping people will buy the album, because I mean, there's been no way I could break even on this at this point.
Well, I hope so. So we hope.
I tried my best to. What I wanted to do was to make sure the booklet had all the words to the songs and all the stories. So, there's no way to do that other than to give you an 8-page booklet.
Well, you did a great job, I tell you.
So Surprise Lake Camp, I believe, is in Cold Springs, New York, right?
Yes, it still exists. It's very well known.
Wow.
Well, that's good. Now, I've noticed everyone you produce original cast. Is that the name of the company?
That's a great company run by a guy named Bruce Yeko, Y-E-K-O. He started it about, in the 70s, and I've kept it going with my releases. All of my albums have been on original cast. All Eddie Cantor albums were on original cast for the most part. Robert Clary's on original cast. It's just a label that specializes in, kind of, niche entertainment. And the way Bear Manor Media publishes my kind of books, and the ones that I've written, this is what Original Cast Records does. So I'm basically, for audio stuff, it's original cast, and for books, it's with Bear Manor Media. Those are two companies that are just really specialized in, trying to keep this music and theatrical stuff alive.
Right.
Well, I noticed it. So every CD that's been put out I've got has been great from these people.
Well, I'm glad Ronnie, you've been a great supporter of mine, and I appreciate it very much. And I know that you've picked up, I think, almost everything I've done.
Almost. I got to get these books though. Now that's the.
Oh, you don't have any of the books?
No, I got to get that one with you and Jack Benny, and there's two of them I don't have yet.
Wow.
All right, so I'll be the best ways to be in touch with you.
Yeah, that'd be great. You could get in touch with me. I'm on Facebook also, and you, of course, know how to get in touch with me. And BrianGary.com. Those are easy ways to get in touch with me. I still have a few of the books left to autograph, and if anybody wants to get them directly through me.
Yeah, keep that one with you and Jack Benny. I'm gonna email you in a week or so.
Oh, okay.
All
yeah.
right.
Oh, that one with Jack Benny. That's the Close Encounters book. How did you get a picture then of it?
Oh, I have my ways. You don't know.
Oh, okay.
You don't know me
because
very well.
that book has 36 stories of my encounters with celebrities.
Wow.
And in that book are people like Eddie Cantor, Georgie Jessel, Danny Thomas, Johnny Mathis, the Carpenters, Carole King, Neil Sedaka, Brian Wilson, Jan and Dean, Rodney Dangerfield, Robin Williams. How about that for a list?
That's pretty good too. See, I don't know if Stu's told you, Ronnie has his ways.
I've got a book. I've got a book at home I bought years ago by Eddie Cantor, As I Remember Them.
Oh yeah, of course. That was the last book he ever wrote.
Yeah, that's a great book. I couldn't put it down once I started reading it.
Yeah, and I think there are some photographs in there from the wall of his den. When I used to go out there and visit him, I used to go into his den, and there was a piano in there, and all the photographs were up on the wall.
I'll be darned.
That's pretty good.
That's great.
Well, Brian,
I wish I had all those photographs. I'll tell you.
I know. I can tell you. I know. But Brian, thank you, Stu, and thank you for the birthday wishes. Thank you for coming on to this. We'll make sure I'll send you a copy.
It's nice.
Well, I would love it, and it's been my pleasure. And we can both thank Stu for connecting us.
Yeah,
very much. Really nice talking to you again, Brian. It's been a while.
It has been, and let's not make it too long next time.
No, anytime you want something, I told the Al Jolson people, Eddie Cantor, Brian, David Grime, anything you people on radio here. Look how long we've been doing this. You've been letting me do this on radio, too.
That's right. Mm-hmm. That's right, and that's great. Keeping this music alive, keeping the all the stuff alive of Eddie Cantor and everybody else. That's a very good thing.
No,
everybody enjoys Eddie Cantor. Everybody I talk to.
Well, I'm glad. It's funny. I put up something on Facebook today because of Gary Shandling's passing, and it was still leads saying, "Now Eddie Cantor, he was funny."
He was. I know that. I tell you, you can't beat that stuff.
No, I mean, he was a legend, and he continues to be a legend.
Definitely.
Yeah. But Brian, many thanks. We know it's news time in New York for you out there. It's 11 o'clock almost.
That's right. I should go look at the news, or I should look at old TV shows.
There you go.
You got them DVR'd, so you got a choice, right?
Yeah. That's exactly right.
All right, Brian. Thank you very much. I know you're a busy person.
It's been my pleasure being with you guys.
And I hope, and one more time on your website for the CD so people can get it.
Yes, BrianGary.com. And there's probably a link, I'm sure there is, to all of this stuff on BrianGary.com. But the new album, which is called The Unproduced Eddie Cantor Musical, is available directly at Amazon.com.
All right.
Great.
All right. Thank you. And next time you come to California, let me know.
All right.
Okay,
I will.
Brian, take care.
Thank you again for having me on the show.
Oh, anytime. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, say hello to your mom.
I will, and the best to all the listeners out there.
All right. And keep in touch, please.
Thank you. I will.
All right. Many thanks. It took a long time, but I finally got you.
Okay.
All right. Thanks
again.
Brian. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I tell you, isn't that what a nice? He is a nice guy.
I met him years ago. He's just a great guy.
Oh yeah, and what a talent! He comes from good stock. Here, or here, like that. We're gonna.